for him who believes. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace. Romans 4, verse 16. Without the grace of Christ, the sinner is in a hopeless condition. Nothing can be done for him. But through divine grace, supernatural power is imparted. It is through the impartation of the grace of Christ that sin is discerned in its hateful nature and finally driven from the soul temple. It is through grace that we are brought into fellowship with Christ, to be associated with him in the work of salvation. Faith is the condition upon which God has seen fit to promise pardon to sinners. Not that there is any virtue in faith whereby salvation is merited, but because faith can lay hold of the merits of Christ, the remedy provided for sin. Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. Now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Righteousness is obedience to the law. The law demands righteousness, and this the sinner owes to the law, but he is incapable of rendering it. The only way in which he can attain to righteousness is through faith. By faith he can bring to God the merits of Christ, and the Lord places the obedience of his Son to the sinner's account. Christ's righteousness is accepted in place of man's failure, and God receives, pardons, justifies the repentant, believing soul, treats him as though he were righteous, and loves him as he loves his Son. This is how faith is accounted righteousness, and the pardoned soul goes on from grace to grace, from light to a greater light. The touch of faith opens to us the divine treasure house of power and wisdom, and thus, through instruments of clay, God accomplishes the wonders of his grace. This living faith is our great need today. We must know that Jesus is indeed ours, that his Spirit is purifying and refining our hearts. If the followers of Christ had genuine faith with meekness and love, what a work they might accomplish! What fruit would be seen to the glory of God!